This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to amend the agenda to remove the first action item, blocking the area of the city easement on East Avenue G.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, has everyone had a chance to read the meeting minutes?
Sure.
Is it up there last minute? We've had 2 months to read
Oh,
it.
yeah, I read them, forgot.
However, they look good.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from May 10th, 2022.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Okay, now we're at public comment.
Oh, since we're the only ones that are on the agenda now.
If you would state your name, please.
Oh, yeah. My name is Tim Boyson, and I live on Avenue Q. And this is Jared Priebus. He lives on Avenue Q, where we would like to have it blocked off at the end, that we're talking about Avenue Q on the west side of Main Street. And Avenue Q down there running over Carter. If you make a right-hand turn off of 9th or a left-hand turn off of Brian Ehrlicher on Carter, if Carter runs around and Q runs around, runs this way, Q goes this way, and they both intersect, Carter and Q, and then it dead ends. At the, there's an empty field out there behind Avenue R Apartments. That's where Avenue Q dead end stops. And we would like to have that blocked off because we are getting way too much traffic from the apartments at Avenue R, coming down the alley behind the housing track and into Avenue Q. And once they hit Q, it's a block and a half, almost 2 blocks until it curves, and they're doing about 60 miles an hour. And they sit there and they rubber all down there, and they're transporting the drugs from Avenue R Apartments to the other apartments just past this on Carter.
Let me get this, you can't make a statement that somebody's transporting drugs because you are not looking in their cars on a
Okay, okay.
But you do know they're driving fast.
Yes, they are driving way too fast
That's just-
for the kids in the area. And down there's a blind child, there's a blind sign down there for a child in those duplexes.
Mhm.
Okay. And there's a lot of traffic, it comes and goes. I have a neighbor, Kitty, on Carter, at my house on the corner, of Carter and Q.
Mhm.
And I'm on the east side. I have a neighbor over there that traffic goes from the apartments to his house all day, all night, along and stuff like that. And they're not stopping at stop sign at all. And it's just being, I'm trying to get this done for several years. And I'd like to see if I can get it blocked off permanently because they're not going to be building anything as far as I know. Past.
We'll go past that in a minute. We'll get there.
Okay.
So it's dirt road back there that they're driving.
Yes, it is.
And if my rumors are correct, she can correct me if I'm wrong, that house, that dirt road was supposed to have been a house. The property it runs into is part of Avenue R Apartments, and there's no reason it needs to continue and it needs to be blocked off. It should have been blocked off when they built the housing.
They should have never had it dead end there. They should have had a cul-de-sac. So it wasn't,
So
it should have been built.
at some point in time, when the building.
But it's still blacktop road.
John Paul didn't have a house put there, and so now we're in the predicament we are now.
Is it blacktop all the way to the alley?
Yes, it's all
Yes.
blacktop to there, curbs just cut off, it's
They didn't design that with a turnaround, a hammerhead, or a cul-de-sac,
That's not what's left.
or with the addition of a new subdivision on, for that to go on to. So it does just go into the alley, into a field.
And that field is added into
And like I said-
part of Happy Hour Park.
Yeah, that was designed before I started. I wouldn't have allowed that to dead end like that. I would have had something to do with that, but. So that is one of our action items.
Do we have a map on here of it?
Yeah, we'll move on. We'll get to the maps when we get to it.
Fine.
Okay.
We'll discuss it more when we get to
All
that
right,
item.
comments, okay, so.
But right now, we're gonna go into our meeting.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our non-action items. Oh, my staff comments, I did need to ask you guys, Betty's already aware, and has already gotten one person. We need a new member since we have lost,
Dave.
David. So, be thinking of somebody who would be willing to be on the board with us. If you know a name, we will take it to commission as a discussion item for them to also think about who could be on the board. And then the following meeting in September, we will appoint somebody because we need to get somebody in that seat. Okay. So our non-action items, the annexation of the Choke property. Next slide.
This is right up there behind the farm, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you notice, you can see the wastewater treatment plant. The park is just north of that, Chaparral Park Lake, you can see that on there. So this is out east of that, just before you hit the country club. Our property line runs, you see the blue triangle, trapezoid, right?
Mhm.
Our property runs right up to it and then right underneath it. So two of those, well, actually three, because we own the strip of Boulder Road, or Boulder Road, sorry, Boulder Road, that comes from the country club down along there and goes out to the home you see in the very southeast corner. So it is actually bordered by our property on three sides. There was some, I did get some comments on this about, well, if they annex into the property, what is the city looking at? What kind of cost would this be to the city to get them water, sewer, street, an actual paved road? Would that fall on the city to have to do that? That is not what the person who wants to, and Mr. Choke has no ideas of subdividing it into small housing things. He's looking at dividing it to one other buyer and himself. And annexing in that in, it keeps him out of the county has, what's it called, claim of exemptions. You can only do so many every so many years.
Yeah.
And he's already done one on a separate property, so he can't do another one for many years. So, you know, his idea was to annex it in the city. He could do a summary replat and then sell that portion of the property to this other person that's wanting it, and he would have his property left. But I do fall under the thing of, okay, this is also, do we want any homes that close to our
To
affluent farm?
Yeah.
That is our, you know,
That is a. Ooh.
Well- the water is not safe for human consumption, but it's
No.
safe to grow things. I don't know how that's a difference, but
Yeah, and if they don't have city water, they have to drill a
they
well.
have to drill a well.
And,
Yeah,
well, but yours is down from it, so it's not near as bad. This is right there on it.
yeah.
Actually, right across the street,
Yeah, it actually is.
right across the ditch from it.
Yes.
Several ditches.
So
No, really, one ditch. They're right.
have you ever had any bad samples come out of your well? Or have you had,
It has high nitrate.
and that's what is,
Yeah, that's what's
it's
from it.
that's what that causes, is high nitrogen. And that's where, you know, is that gonna cause a problem? So I was just told to bring this to you guys and get some ideas from you, see if it is something that
So
that
he's
he
doing
needs to
this
look at.
because he can't do it with the county.
And like you said, if he can't do it, he can't do it. He wasn't really overly stressed and I have to do this right now. He's not that way. He just was trying to come up with an idea and was putting it to me.
Just because I'm ignorant of this, what's the exemption thing that he's?
Okay, so in the county, you can split your property so many times by claim of exemption, which means you don't have to file all the taxes and the paperwork, like to split it off for your family members. That's what it came out as in the beginning. So you're allowed to do that once every 5 years.
Okay.
If you do that any other time, you have to pay all these different taxes and fees and all this stuff to split up property. It is very expensive in the county.
So how does it benefit us as a city?
That's where it really doesn't benefit.
It doesn't benefit us anyway.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, I really don't know if this is something we even want to consider. Because there is no benefit. I mean, the
That's
taxes off of a parcel that size
because
are not
if you're
gonna,
farmland.
Yeah.
The taxes aren't that expensive.
we would.
I really see no benefit.
Is this the same choke that owns the property on the other side bar?
Yes, it is.
Mhm. I just don't want to see a benefit to the city to do it,
There's no.
because there's no tax revenue gonna come from it. And we don't want to have to put a road out there.
No, we don't have to.
Will we have to put a road out there?
It is because we have.
Well, it's not necessarily that we would have to, because usually anytime it's a developer is supposed to put a road out there. But if he is only doing 1 to 2 properties, that's not development
Yeah,
enough
that's
that
right.
falls under subdivision regulations where you have to put in roads. So,
Come back on the city to have to put a road in because we own it.
and like he said, he would, I mean, Boulder Lane there coming out of the country club is only paved to the top, well, to about the middle of his property.
Yeah, so you say it's on about to the middle.
And then the rest of that is dirt. He said he would go ahead and pave it the rest of the way down along his side of his property. He wouldn't have an issue with that at all. And he said, and that would be for
Which way
me.
is he planning to split it in the middle or?
But how would you get?
He would split it along Boulder, I guess, and it would be sectioned off east to west or whatever.
So what's the people at the country club lane, I mean, probably wouldn't create any kind of problem for them, but the only way to get there is to go down country club and then and then navigate through there
To Boulder Lake.
to Boulder and then come down.
Yes.
You can't get there easy.
No, and that's another thing with making it in the city limits. You know, we have to make sure that all properties are accessible by emergency vehicles.
Mhm.
That is a very small
It'd be
road that is paved back there. And yes, an emergency vehicle can get down it. Yes, can, just by the skin of their teeth, they can get down.
Unfortunately, we don't have the specifications as to how fast.
That's right.
We just have
So
to-
that is where the issue may come in, that we would have to put in Boulder Lane coming from industrial on out there. Just because there's not satisfactory emergency access.
Yeah.
So that's where I don't see it's a benefit to us at all.
Yeah, I sure don't see a benefit. Don't they? Don't.
I just think it's gonna end up costing us in the long run.
Yeah,
It could cost us money and.
it could cost us nothing and it could cost us something, so it could go either way.
Rather.
I was one that asked the question in the first place. So, yeah.
Pay your taxes like everybody else.
I can just pass on this one. If you have to go for the commissioner, just tell them,
I don't, I just needed some information to go on and talk to Mr. Choate about, and that's all he wanted. He said, well, get their feel on it. I know the mayor told me to get you guys' feel on it, and
I just don't see where it's gonna be any profit to us to do it.
I mean, it's not like we're going to expand or have a large building project out there where we provide homes for people that our community needs.
And that's where I was also talking to the mayor about, you know, our projected growth is not out of that direction.
No, it's not because
That is why we built the fire station off over there, because that is our projected growth, is that direction. Because anything that direction, to get to the lift station, you gotta have lift stations, because that's basically uphill. Whether you know it or not, that is uphill from the sewer treatment plant.
This property.
Yes.
Yes,
The let's say the sewer treatment plant is actually a higher elevation than that over there is. So they would have to come uphill to get the sewer there. So it would be lift stations. It would be another expensive lift station that gets clogged up, messes up. We don't like it.
We still think that's possible. All right, now we go to action items.
Hey, I'll make a motion that we visit the road closure of the dead end of Avenue.
Second.
Okay, Crystal.
All right, so this is what our public comment was about. Where I have the yellow mark is where we would like to see that dead end. Like I said, if I would have been here when they designed this, I would have made them put a house in that area and just make Q turn right into Carter and not have that there. But this is how they decided to build it because they thought that they would go on. But the property directly to the west of that is owned by the apartment complex. That apartment complex says it is for future growth. They have never added on to those apartments in the, 40-something years they've
4
been
years
there.
it's been there.
Yeah.
So the last,
We did talk to them last year because we were having this issue. They did come in with this issue. We made the apartment complex put up that fence because they were just cutting straight through there. You know, they didn't have to go down an alley. So we thought it would deter them from doing that. If we put up that fence and they had to go clear out here and go to the alley and then get all the way back up. We thought, well, that'll deter them. Evidently, it has not sealed the traffic as much as we hoped it would.
the last house on the north, their driveway goes all the way to the end.
Yes,
So you would have to close it off
Right
right there
at the
where the
end,
yellow line
yes.
is.
yeah, basically it would be, the blockage would be from the fence line on the alleyway straight across to his concrete driveway.
Now, let me ask you this, what could we put up there that would be permanent, that would,
Well, and that's where I don't know, we need to go into just get street department to order some concrete barriers and set them there as a temporary thing in case development ever happens. It could be reopened
How
as
does
a
that
road.
deter the fire department getting through there?
The fire department has to do the hammerhead backup because they can't go into that alleyway anyways. They wouldn't get down that alleyway.
Right.
So there is no,
But now they're coming on the paved street,
mhm,
say the left house there.
mhm.
Uh,
So there
They
is
can't
still
have
alley
access
access.
or-
Yeah, there still is alley access there behind Avenue Q to the north. You have that whole alley there. And you can actually take that alley all the way down to Erlacher. So it would not close off that access to the alley that is the backyard of all those homes. They still have, well, they got a place they can go in on P, they can go in on Carter, they can go in on, clear up on O, they can go in and go on the alley. So there's several ways they could still access those alleys. It just might stop them from coming right straight through there. Don't know for sure, but.
The alley to the north, that need to be blocked also because
No, we have to leave the alleys open because of our utilities are back there and we have to be able to access those. And that's what I'm saying, it still leaves the alleys accessible. It leaves the alleys accessible for the owners because the owners are supposed to mow a portion of the alley and keep the weeds and debris picked up behind their home. So
How far does that Avenue Apartments property go?
all the way to the alley, it does. Their fence does not go that far, but those property lines do go all the way to the alley.
How about north, how far does it go?
Farther to alley?
Yeah, that's right.
All the way, so that
Oh,
alley
okay.
actually goes all the way up north, clear to Avenue O. O circles up from P and ties back into P, just like Carter and Q do. O and P do the exact same thing.
So how much are we talking north and south? Like how many barricades or how many linear feet of barricades?
I would have to go do some measurements across there because I haven't measured it. But we would want to block it off probably from actually fence to fence so people aren't driving in the people's yard or driveway to go around those. I would say it would probably be a good 120 feet across there to actually set those pillars. So people aren't trying to drive up in somebody's driveway and go around that.
I mean, only
Because
other
that would be the next
barriers,
thing they would do.
Cement barriers that they could set, like you said, temporary, nobody's gonna move them.
No, they can't move them, yeah.
What about just putting in, like they do the guardrails, they sink some posts and then they put a guardrail down there?
Mhm.
Would that be sufficient? Or does it-
I don't know, because then if we do have development
Yeah.
there,
development
we'd
there.
have to remove the
Yeah.
bollards and the railing and everything. I think the concrete barrier would be a better temporary option. Because we don't know what
They
development
have
options
time
are.
tomorrow to finish building out
Yeah.
there.
But at least the concrete barriers would be permanent enough that, yeah, people can't just go move them. But it'd be easy enough to move if a developer come in and wanted
So what does chief of police and fire department
extend
say?
Avenue Q.
What does the chief of police and the fire department say about it?
I've still got to talk to them about it. They have not responded to.
Well, one thing you're gonna have to
I can
do,
almost tell you what Miranda's gonna say.
Well,
I mean, for the protection of us, you don't want, if they're driving as fast as they say they are, there's a concrete barrier from one day to the next,
I know,
or one night to the next.
I know. Is that gonna
To
cause?
protect ourselves, you're gonna have to paint them.
They would have to have reflective strip.
Reflective.
Most of the time they have the reflective strip, so
Yeah.
we'll make sure they have that.
Signage.
a lot of signage.
Yeah. And I'll have Bernardo put dead end, and that way. Does it have a dead end street sign there already? No?
No.
There should be a sign that says no through traffic or then
Yeah, and I
turn off
don't
at Ninth Street.
think there is actually. On Q or Q. And it should be there on Q. It should say that this is, no through street.
Right.
But actually, it actually is, because you can circle back to Carter. But what they need to do is right there at that intersection of Carter and Q, is they need to put, when you're headed that way on Q, that this is a dead end. And
But I
Have some
think the
signage
deal
there.
says that, you can't walk off stuff. Obstruct streets,
or alleys.
yeah, so that's obstructing a street.
Yes, that is why I couldn't just say, yeah, we can block that when he was having all these problems. That is why something, we have to come up with a plan and I have to take it to commission.
Well, you're gonna have to, you have to get the chief of police to go behind it and
Yes,
Skip and Mills,
Fire marshal.
yeah, it would just be Skip and
Skip
Dick and
and-
Miranda.
Miranda. But, does everyone in that area want it closed? Or is it just,
And that's where I can send out some letters and I can find that out. I don't know if we could do a survey of any type or a petition.
yeah, I'd probably do a petition better than a survey. Because you're gonna need everyone in that vicinity, and I know that's a lot of houses, but you're gonna want it.
You're gonna need the majority of,
Yes.
especially those that have property right there that use that access to get to their
Mhm.
backyards.
Yeah, exactly.
If they come through a different way, it's not gonna cause, they're not gonna care. But if there are people that they're like, well, I can go right around there to get in my backyard, to get to my boat or get to my storage building,
Yeah,
you may have a few people like that. So I know that is one thing, that is why I had to bring it in to have a discussion, because there's nothing I could do for him.
yeah,
if I could.
without really the backing of those, and then all these people, I'm sorry, just because there's two people in here,
No.
we gotta have a majority. We can't go, well, these two people want it, but the rest 900 of them don't, so we gotta have a.
If they did,
Now, what,
people do for the variance and stuff. and they
It's
bring
not
in
a
the
variance.
It's not-
No, I'm just saying that the same methodology
The
as far as
petition,
bring a petition in with the
Yes.
signatures,
I can
would
get
that
him
be
to get a
satisfactory?
petition going. And
As
it's.
as opposed to a
Yeah.
mail
Yeah.
or,
John, there's quite a few homes in that area. I just, and I'm worried about those two at the end. Like you said, the access, if they go through there and get into their yards in any way.
Yeah.
That's going to.
Well, I mean, they still have access, like I said, from three other points.
Yes,
Yes,
but
they still have access to the alley. It doesn't
we
cut
don't
off
like
completely
one
off.
access.
But everybody likes a shortcut. We know that's why it's being used right now.
How about speed bumps? Would that be an option?
Oh, speed bumps are another thing you gotta get approved.
No.
Yeah. And
You get a lot of
our fire and ambulance do not like speed.
It's rough on it.
It's really rough on them. And a speed bump would not deter the
No,
people who just want to race down it like they're doing anyways. That would deter. Because it doesn't deter them at the park, I can guarantee you. If you're ever out of the park at night and see them racing down that, those speed bumps, they don't even slow down.
you know, you can cruise.
They just go sideways. You know? So,
But that's how I think it needs to have all the permissions from them, and it needs a petition showing that everyone in that vicinity wants it.
My question is, those condominiums down there, those are renters in there. And the
Do you have to
homeowners,
get the homeowner's permission?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to go, I mean, because they don't use that alley for any type of access. They have their own
I'm
alley.
just talking about the people that's in that,
General
Circle.
vicinity.
Yes.
in that circle.
The people that would affect from Erlacher up the backside
Mhm.
and the people there on the north side of Q,
Yes.
that is actually, could be their access. That would be the people I would say need to have
Yes.
the permission, the petition signed by. Does that make sense?
well, yeah, the ones on,
So you're talking about these people here
yeah,
and these people here that possibly use this for the access.
right now,
Whether they're renters or not,
Yeah.
it's still,
so we have to go find the owners of those condos.
no.
No, you can actually get the renters
The
because
renters
they're the
that-
ones using the property right now.
Yeah, whoever's using the property right now.
I know who's the owner.
Okay,
I will send a letter to the owners.
okay.
You worry about
But-
the petition for the people that actually.
So can I ask this question? Do we need 100%, 90%, 80%? How much buy-in do we have to have before it's viable?
Well, I think we just get what we can get and then we take it to commission and tell them this is how many people were
Mhm.
approving this and this is how many people in this area didn't sign the petition.
Yeah,
Because the petition is the ones that are people that are for it. If they don't want to sign it, that means they don't want it.
and don't use those certain words.
No, no.
We're just closing it up for speeders.
The reason I mentioned that is because from here around to here is where the main problem is. It's in here. They go from here over to here. I know this one is a problem. A few of them down here. These are a big problem. So they go from here all the way down to here, you know, and stuff.
They like to visit. They like to visit
Yes, they do. They like to visit the whole
all
month,
times of day.
and they'll walk all the
We all like company.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked if we have to have the owners or the renters, because those
I will
renters.
send a registered letter to the owners, and if you, when you're getting the petition, if you, the ones that would sign it for there that are renters that actually live in.
Okay, because some of the renters.
Because on the petition, they put their name, then they put their address, and that's it. I will contact the actual owners.
Okay,
All right, everybody approve into this.
So basically, you need to amend your motion to table it until I can get further information.
I did. I'll amend my motion to table this
Until the next meeting.
till the next.
Second.
All in favor? I'm not a motion, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second motion to adjourn.
Work, your people, thank you very much.
A lot better than the Monday night meeting.
Oh, well, you did the conduction of this.
A lot better than-
I need a better seat if I'm gonna sit out there for 3 hours. I'm gonna have to bring my own chair.
I haven't been seeing, I was still in pain.